Hey everyone, what's up? Welcome back to my channel, Koki Creative. My name is Elena, and today we are doing a speed build of a tiny house that's also a starter, and I'm only using the Get to Work pack. And I don't even use that many items from Get to Work, but this was a request, and someone asked for me to just do a base game and Get to Work build that's small. So here it is. It's on a 20 by 15 lot, and I'm building it in Willow Creek. It's 16,000 simoleons, one bed, one bath. So great for starting out, but not great if you have a big family. But this is a good place to start, especially if you're just looking for something small. I personally love playing in small houses. It's a lot easier to control your Sims. So because this is a starter house, I'm using terrain paint instead of any tile that costs money. And here I'm using a lot of debug items. So I end up changing this fence out, but I don't hate the way this looks, and I might do it again later. But for this build, I end up doing something a little bit different in the long run, and that looks really cute. So both ways look good, but I ended up doing something a little different here. I'm using a couple of items. I'm trying to remember at this point. Yeah, I'm just doing base game at this point because I started this house the night before. I had a couple of drinks, and I came home. It was out with friends, and I mean, I wasn't tipsy, but I was feeling good. And I decided to build something, and this is what I started building. And then I got a message on TikTok asking if I could make a Get to Work house. So I decided to take what I built here and then finish it off for them. I start a lot of houses and I don't always finish them. So this is definitely one that could have potentially been left on the back burner, but I did. I'm so glad. I've been finishing a lot more builds lately instead of leaving them to rest. And I have been also finishing a lot of old work in progresses, which feels really good because I don't like having these builds that are undone, especially if I see a lot of potential in them. What's the point of starting a whole entire new build if I have all of these that are already halfway done? Most of the work is already done. One thing I have a problem with is doing the interiors. I really, really enjoy doing exteriors. And don't get me wrong, I love decorating, but the interior is always very tedious. It's a lot of small, cluttered work, unlike the exterior where you see a lot of change with a small amount of, I don't want to say effort, but for me, you do one or two things on the exterior and it really shows, like adding a roof. But then when you're cluttering up a shelf, which takes like 3, 4 times as long on the inside, you're working on a like 2 tile space. What I'm saying is that it just takes longer doing interiors for me. So yeah, here I'm working on the layout and I'm just trying to figure out how I want to do this. At this point, I wasn't sure if I wanted to do a 2 bedroom or a 1 bedroom, but I ended up just doing a 1 bedroom. I try to do 2 bedrooms at least most of the time just because it's kind of annoying when you decide to expand your family and realize you have to move. You can always use a spare bedroom for anything, but for this case, this situation, yeah, it's just a 1 bedroom. I used one of my favorite debug items to clean up the edges. They almost look like columns, but it's just this white plank. I don't even know what to call it. So I cleaned up all the edges with the white planks on the outside because I thought it made it look a little bit more finished. And also this item is $0. So unlike columns that you get from the catalog that cost money, this saved me quite a bit. This is where I expanded the bedroom. Since it's only 1 bedroom, I wanted that bedroom to feel very nice and big and open. I do like to play with single Sims a lot. I think it's nice to be able to have all my attention, all my focus on one Sim. But eventually I do fall in love. And then I'm like, well, if I move in one other Sim, it won't be much harder. And then all of a sudden there are babies in the mix, and then you have a family of 6 you have to take care of, and it becomes overwhelming. So then I start a new game all over again with one Sim. It's a beautiful cycle, and that's why I make a lot of starter homes because I start over a lot. So now that I finished the layout, I can add the rest of the doors and the windows. I usually wait until I'm done with the layout to do this because it's always really annoying when you add some windows and you really like it, but then a wall intersects them and then you have to change everything up. So I usually like to finish off the rest of the windows and the doors for when I'm done figuring out if the layout's done or if I'm going to still make some adjustments. And I also have to finish off adding the rest of the roof because I did expand this. Sometimes I will work on a build and then make it a little bit bigger, almost finish the interior, and then realize that I didn't fix the roof at some point. So that's always really funny when it's like almost done. I'm like, oh, yay, I'm almost finished with this. And then all of a sudden I realize I have to fix the roof. But usually roofs don't take me too long. I have a system down on how I like to do it, so it does speed up the process quite a bit. So in the backyard, I had to add a pond because I've been loving adding ponds ever since the pond update came out like a few years ago. I've been doing it in most of my builds. And what I like to do is just surround the pond by lots of different flowers. And these are all the debugs. So if your sim finds this ugly, I am so sorry. They might get a negative moodlet, but what I like to do as I get money is sometimes I'll replace certain debug items with real items so that way the Sims do like the way it looks. I haven't had any issues yet with this house with my Sims like thinking it's super ugly, so at least that's good. And you can always exchange things out later. But anyway, what I'm gonna say is that ponds are free. So ponds in and of themselves, all you have to do is use the terrain tool, lower the ground in, and then there's like a little water tool. Click on that, and then you can add water to the height that you like. And because I wanted this house to look really cute, have good curb appeal, I did this little roof detail here using some debug wood and the tool mod. So this takes a while usually to just line everything up and to figure out what design that I want to do. I did a basic, just kind of, I think of it as a sunrise design. I don't know if there's an actual name for this, but it kind of mimics the sun rays. So it's just the easiest thing to do. All you have to do is rotate. Like I usually pick 90 degrees straight up and down, and then I'll do 45 degrees to the side, negative 45 the other way, and then I'll adjust from there. And I wanted to do this on both of the roofs, so I will copy this and place it on the other side as well, just because I like the way it looks. I mean, when you're looking through the gallery, there's things like this that you can add to the facade that will tend to help you get more downloads, just FYI. If you are realizing that you aren't getting a lot of downloads, even though your builds are absolutely gorgeous, try to work with the lighting and the image that the gallery will display because people shop with their eyes. So if your build looks really good, then people are more likely to download it. I mean, looks good in the gallery. So play around with different lots and their lighting. There are some good light maps that you can find online, but there hasn't been any updates since, oh gosh, like for since 2019. I remember that's around when it came out. So it's been a few years, so they don't have all the neighborhoods. So what this light map does is it shows you the best lighting for the time of day and for each lot. So definitely check it out if you want to have better gallery images. I know it's just so hard sometimes, especially when there's something obstructing the view, like the 64 by 64 in Brindleton Bay. That one, sometimes there will be that flag right in front, and also the one in Sulani that's up by the volcano. Sometimes if you have just a single story there, because if you have multiple stories, it will change the angle. So if you have a single story there, sometimes it will just be a big ol' rock in the frame. So it's kind of annoying. I wish there was a way that we could change that or like have multiple angle options. Like you can go through. I mean, I'm just dreaming here. I should be thankful enough that we're able to upload our stuff to the gallery. When I was younger, I used to do sims2.com and download from there for my Sims 2 stuff, and then it would kind of like import it to your game. It's been so long since I can't exactly remember, but at least we can do it right in game. So that is nice, I guess. Whatever. So here I'm doing the roof. So I copied over that design over to this one and I made it slightly curved because the wood was going through the roof and I didn't like the way that looked. So I just curved it a little and then it fixed that problem. No big deal, which is great. Now I'm adding some debug lights here. You can add debug lights, but they don't work exactly like regular lights, but they do give off a glow. So it's it's more for aesthetics. I mean, it does kind of light up the house, but it's not like super intense or anything. Now I'm working in the backyard, so this is a fence that I made out of some debug items. Yes, how many times I'm going to say debug in this voiceover? I have no idea. How many times I've said it in my entire life at this point? I'm a little scared to find out. But what I'm doing is I'm using the planks and then these objects right here that I'm using are like some of my go-tos. And I also use the tool mod to move it around, but you don't need the tool mod to make this. It would be pretty simple. I like to use the tool mod to just make some minor adjustments too. Like you don't need the tool mod to do really beautiful houses. It just really helps. So if you're a console player, no big deal. You don't need it. I don't want to feel like or make you feel like you're missing out on something, but I do use the tool mod quite a bit. And now that I've been using it for years, it's gotten almost like second nature. I know when I first started, if I was watching myself build with that, I'd be like, I don't know what I'm doing. But I would just kind of work on one thing at a time. Like, first off, rotating was just too complicated and whatever. So I started working it with the resize feature and the lift and lower. And then once I got kind of comfortable and familiar with that, I started playing around with rotate. I mean, don't get me wrong, the first time I got tool mod, I was rotating everything, but it took me so long because I just was having a hard time figuring out what degrees I should put in, all this stuff. So then there's this item that comes with base game. I'm using it right now. It's this like ivy that hangs, some plants that hang. I love that item. I use it all the time, especially because it's base game. I can use it in all my builds, no problem. And so I added it to the fence to make it a little bit more like overgrown. I wanted this lawn to be like a natural lawn. I don't know if you guys been seeing that lately. I really like it. So what people have been doing instead of like mowing their lawns, they've been having these natural lawns and letting natural flowers. When I say natural, I mean like local to the environment, non-invasive. Yes, so non-invasive flowers and overgrown. But I think it looks so nice. It makes it look like cottagey. Also, I had a house. My husband and I were able to buy one a couple of years ago. We had since sold it and everything, but mowing the lawn, I watched my dad and my parents do it, growing up, and it didn't seem like it was such a big deal, but it was like pulling teeth for both of us. We both were like, I don't want to do it. So we'd trade off, and it wasn't even a big lawn, but it was very steep. And so, yeah, we had a push lawnmower because we are like, let's be hipsters. Oh my God, it took me like 2 hours, and I would be drenched in sweat by the time I was done. So what I'm saying is natural lawns are the way to go. If you have a lawn, consider it. It's better for the environment. And mowing the lawn sucks. Anyway, I wish I was a gardener. I wish I was one of those people that could go outside and have a green thumb and make everything beautiful. And also grow my own vegetables and stuff like that. When I was little, we did have a garden in my backyard. We grew cucumbers, strawberries, carrots, sunflowers. Just, it wasn't big, but every year we'd try to grow something different. And I loved it. I loved going out to the garden and picking myself a carrot and a strawberry. But my dad is so dedicated to these things. Like he would map it out every year. We'd go to the store, get the seeds, get everything ready, the planters. We had little fake owls in our garden to scare away the birds. I can't have that much dedication to something that is not. I don't want to say I'm not interested in it because I am, but when it comes to actually doing the work, I don't know. I don't know if I have it in me. I mean, right now I don't have a lawn to work with, so I guess I could use that as an excuse, but there was one point where I did have this small planter about the size of the one in the game in The Sims. That's about four planters. Like it was about that size if we were going to compare real life to The Sims. So it wasn't big. And I said, I'm going to grow some peppers. But what I did, because I'm also too lazy, lazy might not be the right word, but instead of like going to the store and getting like proper seeds, I just like used the seeds left from a pepper that I ate, tried planting that, and there was no process. I just was like, all right, I'm going to do this right now. I was just like, I've made this decision. I'm growing peppers. And I just went outside, put little pepper seeds in the ground, walked away, called it a day. And then I would water it when I remembered. And I have no idea if it even sprouted because I feel like there were some weeds. And at one point, I'm like, there's some peppers growing, but I'm pretty sure it was just like weeds. So what I'm saying is, I don't have a green thumb. I wish I did. I wish it came to me naturally. And I wish I had the patience for stuff like that. Okay, now back to the build. So right now I'm making my own custom no CC debug furniture. All right, that's a mouthful. But since this is a starter house, I decided to make a couple of my own like custom pieces. And this is not the first time I've done it. I like to make end tables sometimes and just other things that don't really need to function. But the TV does function on top of it. So I just use the 9 key to lift it up. And I do like the way this turned out, especially the color. It kind of was giving me this Oasis Springs deserty feel because of that orange and the woods. So that's why I added a cactus. And I used a rock thing that I found from, I'm pretty sure Get to Work. It's also debug, but I think it's comes from the alien planet Sixum. So that's why it looks like that. But I thought it could be a good planter. Plus, it's free. Same with the cactus, and we are on a tight budget, so it all worked here. I also did a lot of blue. I changed the exterior color to blue, and I think that's my final offer. And then the inside is blue, and I also did some brown because brown is neutral and easy to work with. And I chose this bed. So I was trying to do the color scheme based on the bed here. Oh, and oh my gosh, do you see me trying to put these curtains on? That stresses me out when they start to just clip or connect to one curtain or one window, and I'm trying to do a curtain that's for two, like takes up two tiles. Anyway, so what I'm saying is that the windows are two separate windows, and I'm trying to use one curtain for both of them, and then it just does not connect. So what I did was just crop that part out of the video because I can't even watch it when it does that. This is what I do half the time. I end up moving the windows out of the way and then putting the curtain there and then moving the windows back. Well, before I get too far into this random curtain topic that just pisses me off, this is another thing I made out of debug. You've seen these wood pieces before. I keep using them, but I'm making shelves out of this, and I'm using the cheapest books that I could find. These are either free or like $1. Again, I'm on a tight budget, so I decided to use those and a couple of other decorative items that were more or less cheaper or free. So add a little bit of makeup there. And the thing about these shelves is you can't change the color, so they are just going to be that wood, even though the rest of the house or the bedroom is white. It's fine. It looks fine. I mean, you're getting a whole big house for 16,000 simoleons, so you can't really complain too much. Also, these doors. So I used a lot of doors and windows that came with this one update that happened a couple of years back. I really like them. They have beautiful details. The doors kind of have this window above, so I was using those for the inside of the house, and I think they're only like 30 simoleons, so I mean, it was obvious. I had to do it. And the bathroom floor and the kitchen floor are also the concrete floor that comes with standard when you place down any kind of flooring. But it normally comes in this like ugly gray. But it also has a couple other swatches that are really pretty. So it has a purple, a red, almost like every color of the rainbow. So I decided to use that. In almost all my starter homes, I use that flooring because it saves a lot of money, especially if it's like $2, $3, even the cheapest flooring, $2, $3, like this wood floor, for example. Once you fill up a whole space, that does add up. I'm also adding a mop and a broom here, trying to make it look like they're hanging from the wall. And then once I'm done with that, I move over to the kitchen and finish that off, which is kind of funny because the kitchen is usually the first room that I do, but in this case, it was actually the last room. I think I was trying to make sure if I had enough money to make the kitchen. Anyway, thank you so much for watching today. I really appreciate it. If you like this video and you want to see more, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Maybe give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment, let me know what you think. But I hope you all have a beautiful rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.